Guys, I'm back. Sorry I was gone on a long break and then I had school stuff to do, but since my winter break already started, I'm back now. So let's get started. Um, this isn't a new what if. This is what if Naruto was the king of the West, but I'm remaking it because I've rewatched all of my videos to see where I left off on most of them because I have to restart some of those back up. And I realized I kind of messed up a lot on the King of what if Naruto was the King of the West. So yeah, redoing that one. Yeah, this is gonna be my 100 sub special. I don't even think I've done that yet. So this is gonna be it. Thank you guys for I think 112 or 10 or I don't know, but it's one of those. Thank you guys. Or it's lower than that, but thank you guys. So I'm gonna be posting back to back all night. So, probably gonna be up for a while. So expect part 2 of this to come out, and then expect a few other parts to come out. And this time, guys, I promise. I say I'm gonna do that, and then I just end up falling asleep right after the first video I post. But yeah. So let's get started. So this is gonna begin like this. But first, I gotta tell you guys I changed a few things. He's not the reincarnation of he's still the reincarnation of Null, if I can find. Yeah, he's still the reincarnation of Null. But he's gonna be the reincarnation of Chaos. Have you ever seen Castlevania the anime? I think that's what it was called. I forgot. I haven't watched that in a while. Yeah, Dracula. Him he's not gonna be the reincarnation of him. He's gonna be the reincarnation of the chaos itself. He's the embodiment of chaos, and he is the reincarnation of Null. And he has a few abilities of his own from E. He's basically a god above gods. He's the god of gods, basically, at this point. So yeah, let's get started. So we start off where we see a lady giving birth to 3 children. Minma, Mito, and Naruto. We're just gonna say it like that because I'm not gonna go through that whole thing. Minma, Mito, and Naruto. And they, she gave birth to them. And the Torokage's wife took them and got them cleaned up. Kushina was excited. She finally had children. Minato was happy as well. So they decided that their names. Obviously, they decided their names. I already said their names before. So yeah. And then a masked man appears. Obviously, we all know this is Madara, but not Madara, Obito. So I'm just gonna say Obito appeared. So Obito appears, and he kills the Torokage's wife, and he takes Naruto, Mito, blah blah blah. Everything that happened in canon, and he extracts the Nine Tails. Now, Kushina, she survived the Uzumaki, and from what I've heard, I don't know if this is accurate information, but I know I'm gonna research it. But that they can survive having a Nine Tails or the Biju removed from them. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, yeah. And she recovers really quickly, and just if that's not true, she had stored some of the Nine Tails chakra in herself, so just in case it's ever removed, it keeps her alive and heal her back to 100% capacity. So yeah, I don't know why she didn't do that in canon, because Minato and her, and Todokage defeats the Nine Tails and then defeats Obito. Like, that would have been easy. Obito can't fight the third Hokage, Minato, and Kushina at the same time. He gets whooped, obviously, really quickly. He put up a good fight, but he got whooped. And so, that's when... Oh, and he's gonna be the reincarnation of Anos. Sorry, guys. I forgot. It was... that was my bad. Yeah. And he was, they were fighting and they defeated Obito really easily, but he put up a good fight, because Obito is one of my favorite characters. I'm not gonna lie, he kind of started the whole war because he was a simp, but he's kind of one of my favorite characters, below Madara, of course. Madara is my all-time favorite character. I kind of wish he would have won that war. Yeah, so most of you are gonna hate me for that, but it is true. That would have been... I kind of want to see how that played out. But yeah, and they were fighting the Nine Tails. They finally found a way to subdue it. Well, Kushina subdued it, and she used her chakra chains. Blah blah blah. The third Hokage says he's gonna do it, and he used the Reaper Death Seal, sealing it into Minma and Mito. Not Naruto. Naruto's not gonna need it. What is he gonna need it for? He's like about to be just so OP. There's no point. And he, yeah. So then, that's when Naruto's just staring at them. And let's go over to see how it became. So let's do like a flashback to... Not a flashback, but let's go back into Noel. Let's jump over to Noel. He's fighting Venom and Eddie Brock in New York, and they became the God of Light. If you guys haven't read that issue, I'm the King of Black issue. So sorry. Just leave, go read it, and come back. Oh, you have to get it first, but like, go watch a video on it or something, and then come back. But if you don't know who Null is, he's the god of symbiote. Yeah, defeated by the god of light, which is now Eddie, and he dies, apparently. And his soul was pulled in by the god of the Marvel Universe, which is Stan Lee, and he just opens a portal and shoots him through. No, I appear, and I come and I tell him he's going to another universe, opening a portal and putting him through it. Then I disappear, and then I go over to Anos' universe. It's his time up. All of his friends has died and everything, and he finally dies, and thinking he's gonna be reincarnated again into his universe. But I tell him no, I'm gonna be reincarnated into a different universe. Don't worry about it. Open a portal and shoot him straight through. Chaos itself. I went there and I literally met Chaos itself, and I grabbed it, put it into an orb, and just use it as a soccer ball because I'm OP. And I kicked it, and I blessed Naruto with abilities. Because again, I'm the god of all the multiverses. I blessed him with abilities, like a lot of them, like a whole bunch. Yeah, guys, I'm probably gonna forget most of them, but don't worry, I got it. So yeah, and Naruto doesn't have any really big change. No shoots into Naruto, not like that. Pause. His power and his soul goes into Naruto. So does everyone else's. And then we go on to um Minato blames Naruto, blah blah blah. What if canon? Minato blames Naruto. We skip a few years later to Naruto's 8 years old. At the academy, Naruto finally graduates by a limb, basically. Minato and them, they abuse Naruto and everything. Like, they kind of hate Naruto. Even though I love Minato, he's my second favorite character. It goes Madara, Minato, Obito. No, it's Madara, Obito, Minato. Um, he's the Ten Tails not really a character, but still the Ten Tails. Well, not a, you know what I mean. The Ten Tails, and then just so forth and so on, etc. But yeah, and he blames him, and Naruto doesn't. He passed by a limb, but Minato did it. Naruto thinking he did it of his own will, but no, Minato did it. The Uchiha Massacre has happened. Blah blah blah. Few things happen. Skip a few years later. Naruto actually made it to the beginning team. Kakashi's team. Min and Mito are on a training trip with Jiraiya and Tsunade because they found out that they were a child of prophecy, as Jiraiya told Minato and Kushina. So they're on the training trip with Jiraiya, and when they come back, they'll train with Minato on them, and then they'll become the true children of prophecy and save the world. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I'm back. Sorry. But, yeah. So, the Uchiha Massacre happens and everything, and Sasuke leaves the village. Now, Minato tells Naruto and his team, the originals that went to go save Sasuke that time. He says, retrieve Sasuke Uchiha, bring him back to the Leaf Village. He's a valuable asset, the last of the Uchiha, and he says once he gets back, he's going to be imported into the root Anbu. Looking at Danzo, Danzo shakes his head. But he says, Minato says, Danzo, if you dare take his eyes, I'll kill you myself. Sorry for the noise in the background, guys. I'm so sorry. And Danzo, sweat drops and he nods his head, saying, yes, Lord Hokage. Because he kind of respects Minato, so does everyone else. And then they go, obviously. Naruto finds Sasuke himself. Naruto had no real training whatsoever. And Sasuke is just whooping down on Naruto. I'm talking about Naruto can barely even lay a finger on him. He doesn't have any Nine Tails chakra. This is like an unfair fight. This is like getting just out of the academy, going against a high Jonin. Basically, that's how this fight is going. But I'm not saying Sasuke is a high Jonin. I'm saying that's how this fight looks. And he's just whooping down on him. And yeah, he beats Naruto half to death. And then Chidori's him right through the chest and leaves him at the waterfall. But then Kakashi appears and knocks out Sasuke before he can actually run off. And he leaves Naruto there. He sees Naruto, but he leaves him on the Lord Hokage's order. And Kakashi and them, they don't really like him. And so, and this was the day Mito and Minmo were supposed to re-arrive in the village. And so, yeah, he gets back and he sees Mito and Minmo back, and they call him Uncle Kakashi, and they say, hey, hello, Uncle Kakashi, and he says, welcome back, guys. Mito had a crush on Sasuke. She asks what happened. She said, Kakashi said he's just knocked out. He's fine. I had to knock him out. He was trying to run away. And she says, oh, is he gonna be okay? He says yes. And Minato asks, where's Naruto? He says he's dead, Lord Hokage. And he says, finally got rid of that demon brat. Kushina sighs and says, finally. And then Mito, they're kind of happy. Because like Naruto was the oldest and everything, and he got a little more attention than them at first, but now he doesn't got anything. He's dead. And so yeah. And Now let's skip over to Naruto's point of view, because in the village they're just cheering and they have a festival of the dead demon. That's what they call it, the festival. Well, let's skip over to Naruto's point of view. He's actually in the water, and he just comes out, walking out, holding his chest, and he doesn't look the same anymore. He has white hair and red eyes, and the flashback. Let me tell you what happened. When Naruto was laying down, supposedly dead, figures popped in his mind. Chaos. He is chaos. It doesn't pop up. It doesn't have a physical form or anything. It's bonded with his soul and spirit. I bonded it. So, like, he's the embodiment of chaos. Any evil that happens is because of him. He's basically like the devil hyped up on billions of steroids. That's basically what he is at this point. And Noel and Anos appears, and so yeah. Noel and Anos appears, and they say, and Anos, this is the first time he's shown real emotion of anger. He's just boiling with anger. You can feel the power radiating off of him, and so does Noel. And they say, "How dare they? How dare they? How dare they?" And power just radiating off. And Naruto, he wakes, he opens his eyes and say, "Who are you?" With like a toned voice, not like scared or anything, basically emotionless, because he lost his emotion. Because once Naruto's at the dying point, the chaos actually bonded with his soul, so he lost his emotions. And he says, "Who are you two?" And then they simmer down and says, Anos introduces himself first. He says, My name is Anos Fodigo." And then that's when Noel introduced himself. He says, "I'm Noel." Naruto says, "Okay, what are you doing here?" "In my mindscape, I presume." And they're kind of surprised that he knows this, because Naruto was kind of an idiot. He went around in an orange jumpsuit screaming, "Kill me." That's why he never actually got an assassination mission. Who wears some bright colored orange? I'm surprised people missed kunai with this man. And Sakura too, they wore red. Now Sasuke I can understand. Kakashi I kind of understand. He has the skills. They weren't real shinobi. They just were just wearing these bright colors. Sakura and Naruto were idiots. But Naruto's still my favorite character. After all the villains, of course. Yeah, never mind. And he says, they say, "Yes. How do you know this?" He says, "I just know, and that's why I appear." And I tell them it's because of chaos, the power I've put into him. It's bonded with his soul, making him near omnipotent. He knows almost everything. And Naruto smiles, saying, "That's cool. And who are you?" And I say, "I'm the creator of the multiverse," which I am. And he says, "Okay, what are you doing here?" And he says, "These two are your reincarnations. They'll be training you." And Naruto shakes his head, and so does the other two. And I say, "I gave you plenty of gifts." They say those two idiots, Minmo and Mito, are the children of prophecy. They're nothing. They were created by mistake. I accidentally spilled coffee over the creation list and erased two names, so just made two new ones, and then I created them. And he says, so Naruto says, "So they're literally mistakes," and starts laughing. And I say, "Yeah." But that's the only emotion he's probably gonna show. Well, you'll see. He'll show more emotion, but not. You'll get it. You'll see. And so I disappear. And then that's when Naruto and Anos them starts training. So Noel tells him like, "I can create symbiote. I have a resistance to things and everything." So yeah. So he teaches Naruto how to create symbiote. Naruto created his first symbiote, which was powerful. And then, yeah, his first symbiote. It's in Naruto's world. It's the original symbiote. So then that's when like that symbiote's the atom for the, you know how we have Adam and Eve. That symbiote's the atom for the symbiotes in the Naruto universe. He says, Ano says, I'll be training you as well. And he starts training him and training him. He has get his destruction eyes. He gets all of Ano's abilities. He can't be killed. He's immortal. Blah blah blah, etc. He gets all the chaos abilities. He can create things, destroy things, um, shape shift, turn into giant monsters, feed off of blood, feed off of souls, fly, manipulate time and space. Then my abilities kick in that I gave him. So he has dimension creation, he has atom manipulation, he has super strength, super speed, stamina, durability, but they're all infinite. Um he has life creation, and he can sense other reincarnates, and so forth and so on. I can't even think of the rest of the abilities. You guys can drop some abilities in the comments that you always wanted a character to have, and I'll include all of them, because he's about to be OP'd out. Like, literally, he's about to just be so OP. And Naruto, and then let's get back to the present day. Naruto walking out of the water. This all happened in the span of 5 hours, but in his mindscape happened 5 million years. He walks out of the water holding his chest, smiling, and it heals, and he smiles, saying, I will get my revenge. And he snaps, and his clothes come on, and that's how he looks. His hair is white, his eyes is red, and everything. Oh, and the sun does not hurt him just because he's a vampire. He he has sunshine, basically. Yep. But he can use it at any time. It does not matter. He controls his own energy. So yeah, that's the sun does nothing to him. You just walk around like a normal person in the sun. And he says, and he walks out and he says, it's going to be my revenge. And he snaps, and this outfit comes on, and the thing on his finger, the thing on his fingers, and he walks, and he comes across a village. Well, a bandit village. Even if it was a regular village, he would have killed everybody in there. He has no emotion. He's brutal like that. And he licks his lips, saying, I'm hungry, and just starts drinking all their blood, making him grow exponentially stronger. And he starts to unlock more abilities like blood drain and soul drain. So yeah. And he flies in the air. Oh, and also whoever soul he feeds off, he can take their abilities, and he also still has chakra. Yeah, and he has magic. And he flies, going towards the west, because he read in the book. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. Okay. And sorry guys, I'm back. But because in a book he read, there was an old kingdom there that has been destroyed for years. The elemental nations destroyed it and took over, and the king was too weak to defend it. So yeah. Oh god, Naruto flew to the west, and yeah, and he landed. Well, no, he didn't. He was in the air, and he says, all the people of this old kingdom, listen well. I'm the new ruler. And they all look up and they scoff and they continue. And Naruto, he does what Overlord did, basically, or Ainz did, but he's not the reincarnation of Ainz. I should make him that, but I didn't. I forgot. He did what Ainz did, and he made the sky black and red lightning striking because he's upset that they ignored him. And these skulls appear and they shoot down. And he says, and the skulls say, "The Lord is talking to you. You do best to it. Obey and listen." He says, "I will not rule you in fear or tyranny. I'm saying that if you follow behind me, I guarantee victory." And all of them are looking and they're thinking like, maybe this could happen. Look what he did to the sky. And then Naruto comes down and he just starts. He's not even playing. He starts giving them instructions. He say, "First we have to clean up this entire village or the entire kingdom. We're doing reconstruction, and I'll help with that." And you know what? He doesn't even have to really do anything. He waves his hand, and everything is redone. But it expanded over the entire West, not just a little small part of the West. He has now the entire West is put in his possession, and the West is so large, very large. It takes about 4 months to get there through ship because there's a large ocean covering that span. It's so large, and the kingdom covers it all. And they're like surprised, like, cause like a walk from one house to the next was about, like 5 minutes. But no, now it's an hour. Then they're like, "How are we supposed to move around?" And Naruto says, "How many are in the village?" And they in the village, or in the kingdom, and they say about 1,000 left. And Naruto says, "Summon all those 1,000." They're like, but they're spread it across, Naruto says, "Never mind," and he snaps, and they all appear. And he says, "Sit," and they all sit down. And he says, "From now on, you guys will be learning from under me. We'll gather people to come live in this village." In this, oh my god, in this, if I say village, guys, I mean empire. In this empire. And they shake their head. So for the next few months, they're gathering people to come, like rogue shinobi and everything, blah blah blah, etc. So they have the entire empire is filled up now. Everything's so luxury. Everything. Naruto has gained allies with the Sand Village. The Leaf lost that alliance because Naruto was the one to get that alliance for them in the first place because of the whole Gar situation that still happened. And so yeah, then and so that's when he says, and that's when he starts teaching them magic. Lord have mercy, they became so strong. He has a physical enhancement magic group for his army. His army spans in the 900 millions range. Literally, that's his full army. They can really storm anything, and they all are profound in different elemental type magics, and some of them have their own bit. They have light magic and darkness magic, and they're separated into those groups, the different elementals. And some of them have space magic. That's how they get around. And if they don't, they have space magic seals on them, so they can move around freely. They all own a symbiote, obviously. That's their partner. Their symbiote is their partner, and they always should work together. If a symbiote betrays its human, it's automatically destroyed. And if a human betrays its symbiote, it's automatically destroyed. So yeah, they have a partnership. And some people put their symbiote, gave their symbiote forms or shapes, but only if animals, because that's the best they could do. So one day Naruto is, governing the empire, and no, he's sitting on his throne thinking that he needs generals. And he says he has to make generals, and Noel and Ano say, create something. You have life creation from the creator, which was me, and plus your chaos. And Naruto says, you're right, and he creates his Four Knights of Black. Yep, that's them. The original, nah, that wasn't really, I don't think that was really four. I think it was five, and I called them the Four Knights of Black. Yeah, no. So yeah, and Naruto created them, and he gave them their own shapes, and this is how they came out. So we have Lust. Lust is the one with her tongue sticking out. We have War, Gluttony, and no, we have Lust, Apocalypse, Gluttony, and Greed. Gluttony and greed are two different. He's greed for knowledge. He's greed, gluttony. He just, you know what gluttony is. And we have Apocalypse. Basically, he falls into the range of war or whatever, or dark side. It doesn't even matter to me. Yeah, and then Lust. And he creates his Four Knights of, excuse me, guys, his Four Knights of Black. And he says, you guys will be named my Four Knights of Black. And they bow, saying, yes, my lord. And then he says, you all will have your own realm to reside in. You'll be there, and you'll govern it under my rule, saying, yes, my lord. And there are his four generals. And Naruto creates a realm for war, gluttony, greed, and lust. And they go. And they have their own henchmen that they created themselves. Naruto had no part in creating them, but the henchmen will listen to Naruto because they're an extension of him, of his power. All of them feed off an aspect of Naruto's power, but they're not as strong as him. They will never be as strong as him. Not even in a million years. So yeah. And then Naruto, a few more months skip by, a few years has passed, and Naruto is walking around the empire with his guards. I'm gonna say his guards are two of Apocalypse's men, but they are basically wearing what he's wearing, but different. Their horns are kind of smaller, and they wear the same suit of armor. They just, Apocalypse just is bigger than them. They all wear the same armor as him, but he's just bigger than them. And they're walking with him. And Naruto, he stops because his woman runs into him, and the guards are getting ready to Naruto. The guards ask her, is she okay? She ran into the emperor, because they're not one of them. They're just gonna execute her for running to the emperor. They ask her, is she okay, and why did she run into the emperor? If she's an assassin, she will be executed. And everyone's looking like, and they find this acceptable. That's why they like the emperor. He's not brutal or anything. And Naruto bends down, saying, are you okay? And she says yes, and he touches her, and he feels that she's a reincarnate. Now, she is a reincarnate of somebody from the Seven Deadly Sins universe. No, you know what? She's the reincarnation of the goddess of creation. Yeah. And this is her. Goddess of reincarnation. And this is how she looks. And she's running, and she falls, and he says, are you okay? What happened? And she explains, like, some men took her They came here by ship thinking that it was abandoned and they were going to sell her off, but she managed to escape. Naruto looks at the guards and they disappear in like a red and black flash or teleportation, and they find this and they storm in, and the four knights of black appear there saying our lord wants you to come back to our realm, unless she says she wants them to come back to her realm, licking her lips. And then they all agree and they're dragged into Lust's world since they want to sell off girls. And she says thank you to Naruto. He brings her back to the palace. And they go into the palace. The palace is like you know how Zeno's palace is? That's how Naruto's is. It sits all the way at the back of the empire, not like in the back, but you know how like every time you see in an anime where the palace always be towering over every building and everything, basically that's how Naruto's is, but it just, yeah, it looks the exact same. It's just actually stabilized, floating a little bit above the ground, but not too far above it. You know what I mean? If you don't, I can't explain it any better than that. So yeah, and the maids get her cleaned up and everything, and she comes out with her hair long and like this just a casual shirt and pants, saying thank you my lord, and her toe says come here girl, sitting on his throne. And Apocalypse appears saying my lord, and Naruto looks and so does the girl, and he says we have captured the intruders and the ones that were trying to sell her off. And then he says thank you Apocalypse, and he says you're welcome my lord, and he just goes back into his realm, disappearing. And the two guards, they're standing at the door, and they say, and he says come here girl, and she comes and he says do you know who you really are? And she says my name is Freya. He's like even your name gives it away. And he can awaken reincarnates, and he touches her forehead and unlocks her reincarnation. And then that's when I appear. And then I say, I was like, well, that's what happens to the god of reincarnation. I mean, the god of creation. I kind of forgot. I kind of didn't remember what happened to her. It seems she's here. And I just say, you can do whatever you want with her. And I disappear. That'll be the last time I appear. And then that's when he says, well, then I guess I'll be training you. And she stands up and says, there's no need. And he says, wow, you've gotten a little cocky. She says, I'm not cocky. I'm talking to the god of reincarnation now. Sorry guys if you hear that in the background. I don't know what that is. But she says, I'm talking to the god of creation right now. And she says, there's no need for you to train me. She wants to do it herself. There's things she wants to teach me. And he says, fine, okay. And so let's just go from her point of view. So the first thing they work on is her speed and strength. She's so freaking strong and so freaking fast. She moves at light speed. She has light manipulation. She can create anything out of light. She has her sword, and she has her light dragon, or the dragon there. Yeah, but she's permanently known as the dragon goddess, but the goddess of god of creation was her original name. She has excellent swordsmanship, very excellent. She can create anything. She's so beautiful, fast. She can give out graces. yeah, that's all her abilities. And you guys thinking like that's not that much. It might not be that much, but she's powerful with them. And she has light beams. So she can just control light itself. So like, yeah, she's basically the opposite of Naruto. I'm gonna give him a new name. I don't know yet. Um, that she's the opposite of Naruto. He's the darkness. He's the light. They're like yin and yang. And so a few years go by. They've gotten married and everything. Naruto's 18 by this time, and he has already had. Well, no, they're 19, and he already had children. Minma and Mito, they are currently. I would say Naruto came out. Let's say this: Naruto came out a day before them. Yeah. Let's say Naruto came out a day before them. No. They're younger than Naruto. Obviously, they're all 19, but they're younger. And he says they already have children. Yeah, they had children at 17. Yeah, yeah. 17. They had children at 17. I don't know. Let's not get into the ages, okay? They had children. Show you their children. I can't get a direct age. This is their daughter, and this is their son. Okay. So their son is the firstborn. His name is Seraph. Like, fairy tales, Zephyr at the end. Okay, no? Alright. If you guys get the reference, please do tell me in the comments. His Seraph. Now, their son is very special because Naruto did something. Since Naruto's the new ruler of this universe, he made his son the embodiment of death. And if you're thinking like, why would he do that? His son is basically the Grim Reaper. I just want to put it like that. No, his son is the Grim Reaper. Naruto took his son to the old god, Hades, ripped away Hades' powers, put it in his son, and killed the weak Hades. He could have done it anyway. He just did it. Obviously, I didn't say anything about it. I let the order go. I gave Naruto the universe, so like, yeah. I'm the universe where Naruto is Trigun and the Grand Priest reincarnation. I'm in that universe right now. And yeah. And so his son has death touch, death manipulation, soul manipulation, time manipulation, superhuman strength, stamina, durability, adaptation, demon creation, just like his father. And and darkness control. Yeah. And he has his summon Cerberus. Well, it's not his summon. It's his pet Cerberus. And it grows stronger with his son, so let's just put it like this. Cerberus is at Biju level, not sorry, let me do this like this. He's at, have you guys ever watched Pokemon? You know who the Pokemon that created all Pokemon hold on guys, let me find out that Pokemon name. Cerberus is at Arceus level. Yeah. And it's still growing. So that means Naruto's son is at Arceus level. And he does not play when it comes to his little sister. Thank you, phone. And now you won't let me click it. Okay. His little sister. Let's name her Sylvia. Yeah, if you watch the beginning of the end, and that name kind of gave me not the point. Sylvia. Sylvia's a kind-hearted soul. She gets most of her abilities from her mother. Um, she gets her light control and everything, but then she has dragon magic. Her father made her dragon slayer god, god of dragon slayers, god of dragons, slayer dragon. She's the god of all dragons, basically. Anything that relates to dragons now belongs to her. She's the god of dragons. This is her hair, and she has her little horns, whatever, and her yellow eyes. This is how she looks. She has dragon roar, dragon dominance, superhuman strength, stamina, durability, dragon beam, dragon aura, dragon creation, dragon control. She can use all the elements. Yeah, and her skin is like titanium. Ain't nothing cutting it. The only thing that can really hurt her is a holy weapon that has been graced by who else? Me. By God. And I've just say this, in this universe I was clumsy and just dropped a whole bunch of those around the world. They're all around the world in this universe, but Naruto's collected them all and had them put in his collection, because he can't be hurt by holy weapons, because like Anos' thing is canceling that out. So yeah. And oh, and his son Scythe is also one of those. Oh god, wait, what is happening? His son's scythe is one of those holy weapons that I created, but it's the scythe of death. Yeah, his son took the original death scythe, swallowed that death, and gained his powers as well. And his son also gained the destruction eyes from his father. And she has, and she has her pet dragon, Acnologia, not the one from Fairy Tail, but this one. Man is so big that he she had to make a dragon realm just for him to reside in. As to say, he's the same size as Cerberus. They're the same size, and him and Cerberus, they get along, but they compete most of the time, and they can talk. Yeah. And he's same level as Cerberus. And yeah, that's Naruto's children, which is OP. And they reside in their castle. And the Leaf Village has lost all its alliances, and their alliances have fallen under the rule of the Empire. So the Leaf Village is now one of the weakest. And the Empire has high tech from the Snow Village in Naruto's thinking, because he was, you know how, he's just super smart. And Noel has seen New York and all the cars and stuff, and Tony Stark's. Yeah, he saw all of that. So, saw Tony Stark's machinery, and he had the ability to create it. And so they're so high tech, cars and all of that. And so, they lost their alliances, and the Sand Village was holding a tuning exam. Yeah, and the Leaf Village had been invited, because they were still known as the Five Great Nations, but they were just not. The Leaf Village was a part of it, but they just weren't under the rule of the Empire. They were left out. They're the weakest. And they are hosting it at the Empire. So yeah, probably gonna make this a movie. I don't know. Probably will. Yeah. Naruto heard about Sasuke only getting like a 1 week suspension of his ninja license and was very upset about that. Sorry guys, that's my bag. A 1 week suspension of his ninja license. Was upset when he heard that because of his shadow spies. Yeah, they're just like what they say, shadow spies. And Naruto, he hosts it at the Empire. And let's give over to the Leaf Village perspective. They're thinking like our power. They're having a meeting about their power going down even more. Sasuke has been enlisted in the Root Anbu, became a Anbu captain, and everything. Became very powerful from their standpoint. They don't know what true power is. Sorry guys, I was doing something. But yeah. And so they're having a meeting like, we have to regain our power, become the strongest village once again. And so Danzo come up with the idea of making an alliance with the Empire King or the Emperor and using his special ability to put them under their control. Because like they all know about his ability, you know. But he's thinking that he'll have them really under his control and rule everything. And they say that's a good idea. So they say that's what we'll do. They're calling it Operation Control King. CTK, Control King. And when they go to the tuning exams, it takes them about a whole month to get there. And they finally arrive, and Gaara appears, Naruto's best friend. Shukaku was removed. Gaara can sleep well now. But Gaara also knows sand magic, which makes him even more powerful. And he says, "What are you doing here, Minato? You know it is not time for the tuning exams." He says, "We'll be here inside of the sand village for the time being." Well, let's say the tuning exam was hosted in the sand village this year. And he says, "Fine." He says, "But it's not until another 2 months that the tuning exam happens." And says, "We just want to be here more early." And he says, "Fine, you can stay." He gives them a hotel. Now, the 2 months pass, and the tuning exam finally happened. Minato enrolled. Sasuke, Minma, Mito. He enrolled all of them into the tuning exam so they can participate. So yeah. But before that, you have to, if you're gonna enroll anyone in the tuning exam, you have to make an audience with the leader of that village. And yeah, Garth, he agreed. And so they have the tuning exams, blah blah blah. Obviously, the Leaf Village did not win. The Sand Village won that year. But they say they want to request an audience with the Emperor, and they say Gara says, well, then you'll have to go talk to the Emperor himself in the West. And he says, well, we know you have a faster way of getting there. May you help us? He says, well, the Emperor was already knew that you guys already wanted an audience with him. And they use the space-time seal. They appear in front of the gate, and then that's when the Naruto's 2 knights, or Apocalypse 2 army. Hold on, guys. I'll be right back. I'm back. Okay, and he says, and they get there, and the 2 knights, they look and say, hello, Lord Gara, or Count Gara, because yes, Gara is a count. This Count Gara, how may we help you today? And Count Tamari and Count Conqueror, because Conqueror then went to, and says hello, and they're like, and Minato says, you're a count? He says, yes, the Emperor is my best friend. And saying, you're just using the Emperor for power. And he says, I would never do that to a friend. And that's when they say, who are they? And they're like, and they say, this is the Leaf Village Shinobis. Oh, sorry guys, the Leaf Village Shinobis. Said the Emperor was expecting them, but not now. He's actually doing something. So they can tour around the village, and they can have an audience with him next week. And Gardenim says, well, okay, we have things to do as well. And they say farewell. And it says farewell, and they disappear. No, it's not the Naruto's 2 guards. It's just the guards at the gate, or the barrier guards. And that's when they go and they walk around and they're looking, and they have a guide, and the guide says, this is the hotel you'll be staying at. And they're saying, wow, it's so big, we're getting luxury. It says, no, this is one of the smallest hotels, the smallest in the village. And they say, well, then bring us to a big one. He says, most likely you guys would not be able to afford it. This is the much as you can afford. So don't get cocky thinking that this is the biggest. It's not. Lord Gara has stayed in bigger, and he can tell you. And then one of them says, no, mostly he stays in the palace with the Emperor and his family. And he says, oh yeah, that's right. And they say, well, you guys can tour around or whatever. And so, yeah. So, they're walking around the village touring after they put their bags and stuff down, because they have to go back and get some bags and stuff, because they'll be there for about a week or two waiting for an audience with the Emperor. And they start walking around, and they see this tall boy and this little girl, and the little girl was running around. Well, she was walking with her brother, and they were looking around, and they noticed that everyone was smiling, waving at them, and they're thinking that they're probably from some noble family. Sasuke got a little annoyed, and he bumped into the little girl on purpose, and the little girl got up, and Sasuke says, you should apologize. Bumping to an Uchiha elite like that, I could have your head for this. And the boy looks at him, and he appears in front of his face. They're the same height. If you guys remember this from the original, never got to it. He says, how dare you say that to my little sister? And Sasuke say, what are you gonna do about it? Flaring his Sharingan, and then he activate his destruction eyes, but now they evolved into the death eyes, the eyes of death, and they're just pitch black with red Tomoe. He says, are you an Uchiha? And he says, no, but we do have some here, and they look way more powerful than you. Well, he said they are more powerful than you. Everyone kind of taken aback that they have Uchiha here, because they thought they were the only ones with Uchiha. And he says, well, I'll meet these failure of no Uchiha since they left the Leaf Village to come run off with some weak ass empire. And he says, your emperor, I will probably be able to beat your emperor and take the throne. And he says, how dare you? And the boy punches Sasuke, sending him flying. And then he lets out a death beam, shooting it. And Sasuke activates his Susanoo ribcage. And then that's when Sasuke swings his sword. This is teenage Sasuke at that. Swings his sword, and then the boy pulls out his scythe, swing it, and he kicks him back, and he says, how dare you? No, you know what he done tell you he done something very disrespectful. He doesn't pull out his scythe. He does what Aizen did, stop the blade with one finger, and he says, weak, and kicks him down. And then that's when he kicks him back, and Sasuke summons his snake in the middle of the village, and the boy says, this is dumb, and he snaps, porting everyone to a training ground in the palace, and he says, we can fight better here. And Sasuke says, fine with me. And then he goes all out, and they start fighting. He uses his full Susanoo, and the boy is staring, like, Ishiki from Boruto, how he was standing, how the Susanoo was standing above him, and he was staring at it. So the boy was. And the boy's sister cheering him on, and Sakura says, how dare you? She says, well, Sylvia says, go older brother with that weakling. She's screaming that because she has a playish type thing, but when she gets serious, it's just scary. And the Sakura says, how dare you say that about my Sasuke-kun? And Sylvia looks at her, glaring and letting off a little pressure. And the two are fighting, and Naruto feels this, so does Freya, and they appear, but they don't say anything. They're just watching this. And the four Knights of Black are there because they were having a meeting, and Naruto's advisors were there, except for Gaara, because he keeps missing them. And one man, masked man, not Obito, masked man, but he wasn't Uchiha. A masked man with long black hair and red and black armor on. And one of the four Knights of Black, Gluttony, says, my lord, shouldn't we stop this? He says, no. Let it continue. I want to see how strong my son has gotten. And Naruto recognized who that was, and he starts smiling. And that's when Naruto's son swings his scythe. He pulls out his scythe and swings it, cutting down the Susanoo. Sasuke says, how? And he summons his bird. The bird appears, or the hawk, and it comes swooping down. And he says, Chidori, coming down. Kakashi seemed proud. Coming down, and then Naruto's son just puts up a barrier. No, he catches it with his hand, smashing Sasuke into the ground and stomps on his chest. Sasuke is bleeding, and he substitutes away, biting his finger, and then summoning his snake. And then that's when that's when Naruto's son, I forgot what I named him. Let's just call him Sylvie. Let's just call him Hades. Or let's call him Drake. No. I'll call him Diablo. Yeah, we're just gonna leave it at Diablo. And these, Diablo. And then he says, Cerberus, come here. And then just giant portal just booms open, leaving the shock waves, or sending out a shock wave, and all the smoke. And you can see Red Eyes, which was the boy. He got that from his father, and then you can just see um three heads and then just these red eyes staring down. Everyone was kind of scared, wondering what is that, because they couldn't see. There's still so much smoke. And Sasuke's looking like, what is that thing? It's so tall. And that's when the smoke cleared, and Sasuke's snake got scared, saying, "Hold on, guys, I'll be right back." And yeah, and he's like he's and the snake is like, how is that possible? He he he's real. And he says, what is it? And Sasuke says, what is it? He says, that's Cerberus. And he says, Cerberus. Okay, guys, I'm back. And he says, Cerberus. And then Sasuke says, you mean the thing that watched over Hades at his gate? He says, Hades, his guard dog. And he says, yes. He was like, but you can still beat him, right? He says, no, no one can. He's powerful. And he says, I'm not about to get killed here for you, boy. And he unsummons himself, going back to the snake mound. And he tells the snake, the head of the snakes about this. And she cancels Sasuke's contract, saying that he picked the wrong one. And Cerberus is staring him down, saying, my lord, what is it? And he tells him what happens, and he starts to growl, thinking that he put his hand on Lady Sylvia. And that's when Naruto appears, saying that's enough. Cerberus is Sid, and Naruto summons a giant bone, throwing it to him. And all three of the heads are licking it. And he says, Diablo, that's enough. And he puts away his scythe, saying, yes, father. And they're thinking, who is this man? And then that's when one of the guards says, Emperor, and he bows and saying, we're sorry, we weren't trying to disturb your meeting. And that's when Diablo says, well, he started it. And Naruto says, I'm well aware. And he says, and he calls, and his daughter jumps out of the stands. And he comes to her and he says, are you alright? And she says, what? She tells him what happened. Naruto lets out bloodlust, frightening everyone. And he walks up to Sasuke, holding her in his hands, saying, how dare you flare your dirty Sharingan at my daughter? And that's when the masked man, which was an Uchiha, we're gonna say this is Madara, because this is the real Madara. He Naruto flashback. Naruto found his body one day. And no, he found him dying, and he actually healed him, and they got a close bond. So they're like brothers. So yeah. And he jumps down, and his wife Mito Uzumaki, they he obviously Naruto revived her as well, and indefinitely. So she just revived. She's not like a zombie or whatever the Orochimaru will be doing. That she's none of that. She's just actually back alive. And yeah. And he says, Madara jumps down, says, how dare you touch my niece? I'll kill you. And Naruto says, that's enough. Let's go. And he's pulling him. He says, no, let me at him. I can handle. I can take him out. And that's when everyone's just sighing, saying he's so overprotective over him. And then Naruto says, if you dare flash that dirty Sharingan of yours at my daughter, I'll kill you. I'll kill you all, looking back. And then Diablo, Naruto, and them disappeared. The Empress, she disappeared, and the guards says, look what you got us into, you Uchiha brat. We all could have gotten in trouble because of you. How dare you flare your Sharingan at the Emperor, and the princess. She could have obliterated you herself, but she started to stay humble and apologize. But no, you had to take it too far. And then Minato was like, "You idiot, Uchiha! You made an enemy of the Emperor. Now how am I supposed to explain this to him?" The Four Knights of Black they were still there and they were lingering. And the guards looked up and they saw them. And they're like, "Look." And all of the other guards looked up because they were wondering what he was staring at. The Four Knights of Black were just there. But when Minato and them turned around, they disappeared. And the man says, "Oh, we're in big trouble," under his breath. Yeah, guys, that's where I'm going to leave this off. I'll probably post the next one in about 2 hours. So yeah, bye guys.